Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Tuesday evening, June 11, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more weather lovers or rain lovers just like you guys, so that we can keep everyone safe as we head into the peak of the Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the weather's been like here recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at this tweet from Ben Noel. He's actually a meteorologist at the National Institute of Water and Atmospheric Research in New Zealand. And from time to time, he makes some very accurate posts about the Atlantic hurricane season that you can't afford to miss. So if you're on Twitter, please ensure that you follow him at Ben Noel Weather. So he stated yesterday at 5:37 p.m. the ECMWF plus UK Met Super Blend for July to September 2024 has arrived. It's looking moist. I'm concerned about the potential for an elevation in flood frequency for the southern US, Florida, and the Caribbean in the months ahead. And he highlighted this picture right here. And it's very similar looking to a lot of maps that we've been showing for the past month. So it's basically the Euro plus the UK model. And he showed the greens that we can see by the key on the bottom right. That represents moist or wetter than average conditions, so even more rainfall, stretching all the way from Africa across the main development region into the Caribbean and portion of the southwestern Atlantic, the Gulf of Mexico, even the eastern Pacific and Central America getting in on the mix as well. And we know all of this has to do with the very wet weather that's expected, the tropical waves pushing from east to west across the Atlantic into the Caribbean. And the thing is, some of these tropical waves could definitely make it up to tropical depression, tropical storm, or hurricane status, considering the very warm sea surface temperatures that are across the Atlantic at this time. We'll take the rainfall more than anything else. We don't want the hurricanes at all. We don't want the power outages. We don't want damage. We'll take the rainfall as long as it's not too much rainfall causing death and destruction. We'll definitely take it across the Caribbean. Jamaica right here embedded in a lot of dark greens, so we're definitely going to be getting in on the mix of the above normal rainfall. And I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what unfolds. Taking a look at what the US National Hurricane Center is showing on their 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook, we can see that they've actually posted something. They actually posted from this morning, if I'm not mistaken. It's a code yellow, and they've updated it at 7:08 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:08 p.m. Jamaica time, so a few minutes ago, considering that it's 6:33 p.m. now. And if we scroll up, let's read what it says. It says, disturbance 1, 20% chance of cyclone formation in 7 days. As of 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Tuesday, June 11, 2024. Eastern Gulf of Mexico and offshore southeast US, AL 90. A broad and elongated airflow pressure near the west central coast of Florida is producing a large area of disorganized showers and thunderstorms. This system is expected to move northeastward across Florida tonight and move offshore of the US southeast coast by late Wednesday. Although upper level winds are expected to be only marginally conducive, some slow development is possible while the system moves offshore of the southeast US coast. Regardless of development, heavy rainfall is expected to continue across portions of the Florida Peninsula during the next few days. For more information, see products issued by the Weather Prediction Center and local National Weather Service forecast offices. So you can see that within the next 48 hours, it has a 10% chance of development. Within the next 7 days, it has a 20% chance of development. And if we even take a look further at the CPC, that's the Climate Prediction Center, so they just came out with this forecast. They usually come out with them on Tuesdays. So they actually made a post and they forecasted that for June 19 to June 25 we're going to be receiving above normal rainfall right here across Jamaica. We even see some red across portions of the Western Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico that we know by what we see on the key on the bottom. That represents tropical cyclone formation probability. So a 40% chance and a 20% chance and even up to a 65% chance of rainfall across the Jamaica area right there into portions of the Cayman Islands. So it's definitely going to be getting even wetter as we wrap up the month of June. And look at that, even around the time frame from June 26th to July 2, we still have much of the same with the above normal rainfall that's expected across the Western Caribbean and the southern Gulf of Mexico. We also see that the main development region is starting to wake up as we see an increase in the amount of rainfall expected coming off of Africa, stretching across the main development region as well. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what unfolds as time goes on, and I'll definitely be here to keep you all posted. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, you can see numerous areas of low pressure across portion of the northern portion of the North Atlantic, lots of troughing taking place, but we still have the ridges of high pressure that we know are responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. And with these easterly trade winds, we have a lot of tropical waves, right? One right here to the southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands, another one right here to the south of the Eastern Caribbean, another one right here across portions of Colombia. And we also have a lot of dust coming off of Africa in the easterly flow of trade wind as usual. If we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can see the low level flow of the clouds, even some dust in there near Africa, pushing from east to west. We can also see some fast east-southeasterly trade winds pushing right here across portions of the eastern to central Caribbean, some of which has some amount of clouds in there with some isolated shores. And we can see all the clouds associated with the system that the Hurricane Center has highlighted. And we know this system is definitely from the trough that has been plaguing portions of the Greater Antilles for the past week. The only difference is that it has pushed now to the north and it's affecting Florida. So if you have friends or relatives in Florida, please ensure that you tell them to keep safe because flash flooding is definitely taking place. Tell them if they come upon flooded roadways to turn around, don't drown. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Tuesday, June 11. It was stated that we would have received some morning rainfall across sections of some southern and eastern parishes, then some afternoon rainfall across sections of some northwestern parishes in Jamaica. We know northwestern parishes we're talking about, maybe Hanover, St. James, Trelawney. We know western parishes, they are already in the western portion of the island, so definitely those areas are what we would have been experiencing or expecting the rainfall to be across during the afternoon hours. But southern and eastern parishes for the morning, eastern parishes, then we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, so Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. While southern parishes, then we're talking about St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, and Westmoreland. And what ended up happening? As early as 5:30 a.m., a post was made on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica. Keep in mind that these posts aren't only made on our Twitter page, but they are made on our Instagram page at weather.jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss, posts that we don't make here on our YouTube page. So the Cuban Doppler radar images were posted at that time, and they show that we were definitely getting in on some amount of rainfall, some greens, some slight yellows in there, especially across sections of the east and sections of some southern parishes as well. We know all of that represents some amount of light to moderate rainfall, as you can see by the key on the red. And you know we have to be using the Cuban Doppler radar because the Jamaican radar has been down for quite some time. And we have some of our followers confirming the rainfall in their area. We had Gunnar Princess stating it is raining now, which we knew what parish that was. We have Cheryl Kirkpatrick stating heavy breeze, light to moderate showers in Manchester, so that indeed confirms the rainfall for the southern portion of the island. I definitely got a sprinkle of shower in my area of Kingston and even St. Thomas this morning, so that indeed confirms the rainfall for the east. We also have some commenters on our Instagram page confirming the rainfall in their area 10 hours ago. We have Love is a Beautiful Thing underscore 22 stating raining in Mandeville, very windy. Another comment right here from CP Vibes Up stating light rain and windy in Manchester right now. That was about 11 hours ago. But for the most part, if we take a look at See Jamaica's YouTube channel, from about 12:19 p.m. today, for the most part it was a mainly sunny day, very hot as a matter of fact in most areas. So it wasn't as robust as what the models were predicting. More of that rain was predicted more for eastern and sections of some south central parishes than anything else. And if you'd like to see some more live streams, just head over to See Jamaica's YouTube channel. As we know, they make or show live streams of the corporate era throughout the day 24/7. Taking a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down, you can definitely see that southeasterly flow across the island. We saw those clouds coming into section of St. Thomas, some of those clouds coming into section of Manchester, then anything else right there, Clarendon, then Manchester right there, and then spilling into section of St. Elizabeth. We didn't see northwestern Jamaica getting in on much rainfall during the late afternoon hours at all. If we take a look at the latest Cuban Doppler radar images, we can see that there's nothing to show right here, as most of the rainfall is pushed up towards the west of the island. We do see some rainfall right there to the south right there, but it is nothing drastic at all. Maybe some of that might make it into some southern portion of the island later on this evening into tonight, who knows. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, let's reload these images so that we can see, because there's no way it's 30 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay. Alright, so it's 29 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay right now, 28 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Wednesday, temperature should dip down to about 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is showing 18Z on Wednesday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Wednesday. And we do see Jamaica right here embedded in some yellows and some orange colors that represent 1 to 3 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures, as you can see by the key on the right. I know the normal temperatures for the month of June across Jamaica are about 90 degrees Fahrenheit. When we take a look at the thermometer, 90 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 32.2 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 32 to about 35 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Wednesday. As it relates to the dry air map, you know, the dry air is represented by what we see on the key on the bottom, the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those rays. You can see tremendous dry air right there off the northwestern and west coast of Africa, stretching into the main development region. We do see some dry air starting to come into portions of the greater Antilles, as represented by those yellows. Jamaica in the mix right there. And we know the dry air limits the amount of rainfall that we usually experience. Not only that, but the forecast for the Saharan dust for 2 p.m. on Wednesday has a lot of it still stretching all the way from Africa across the main development region into the Caribbean, Jamaica right here, and we're definitely getting in on some of that. But it's not that vigorous plume. We don't see those dark shades of browns across the island as yet, that we know can cause very hazy skies, not to mention trigger some amount of asthma or sinusitis in some people. So we're still on the low end of the scale. Hopefully it doesn't get as tremendous as what portion of the Eastern Caribbean is getting as we speak. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we still have the blues surrounding the island that we can see by the key on the bottom right. They represent anywhere from 1 to 1.5 meter wave heights, and that's because the winds are going to be coming in from the east-southeast still, or more so from the southeast than anything else. And we see the greens and even some dots of yellows here and there that we know represents anywhere from 15 to 20 knots, or even gusting up to 25 knots in some spots. So still some windy days ahead, as we can see for tomorrow. And with the upper level winds coming in from the northeast for tomorrow, it's definitely going to be favoring more of that rainfall across southern Jamaica than anything else. That's if we get some afternoon thunderstorms across the island, but that's only if we get that afternoon rainfall. So southern parishes are going to be feeling the brunt of that afternoon rainfall, but With most of that air piling up across northern or northwestern parishes, I can't rule out some more rainfall for sections of maybe Hanover, St. James, or Trelawney. We'll see exactly what unfolds, and I'll definitely be here to keep you posted on my other social media in case it happens. But we're still in that same weather pattern, showing most of the rainfall for sections of eastern Jamaica than anything else. Maybe sections of some southern parishes, as what the Euro is showing here. But we see most of the consensus for some more rainfall represented by these blue colors for eastern Jamaica. And what time is this? This is 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Is actually 6 a.m. Jamaica time. So maybe some more early morning rainfall. Then skipping ahead to about 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is actually 3 p.m. Jamaica time. We start to make more sense on the GFS than on the Euro. GFS showing the rainfall still affecting eastern Jamaica, but we start to see more of that rainfall on the coastal areas of some northern parishes as well as sections of some western parishes. It's making more sense than what the Euro is showing. Euro is showing blues represent rainfall across eastern, central, western Jamaica. I'm more inclined to believe what the GFS is showing, especially with the wind directions coming in from the east southeast. So we can't rule out some rainfall coming off of the sea from the east southeast to affect sections of St. Thomas and Portland, then piling up on the north coast during the afternoon, also affecting sections of western Jamaica. Either way, both accumulated precipitation forecast maps from the Euro and the GFS are in consensus that eastern Jamaica is going to be picking up the most in the way of rainfall within the next 24 hours. Euro showing up to 0.61 of an inch of rainfall across St. Thomas and Portland. GFS showing up to at least 0.28 of an inch of rainfall. Either way, we're indeed grateful that it's going to be raining somewhere in Jamaica tomorrow. We're in the month of June. We usually receive up to 133.35 millimeters of rainfall during this month. So we'll take all the rainfall that we can get to do something about the heat that we are definitely experiencing. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So that tropical that has been plaguing portions of the Windward Islands has now pushed off more so to the west of there. We see most of the clouds right here to the northeast of the ABC Islands. We still see a lot of activity associated with the intertropical convergence zone right here. That's where all the winds from the northern hemisphere meet the winds from the southern hemisphere, and we have a lot of rising air showers and thunderstorms taking place. We can also see that we have a lot of activity taking place across northern and South America as usual. Suriname, French Guyana, Venezuela, sections of Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica. We can still see that flow from the southwest associated with the Central American gyre that is trying to set up. We'll see how that actually goes, if there is actually some kind of low level circulation that forms and possibly, develops into something. I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what happens. As it relates to the rainfall for the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, we don't see anything happened across the northeastern Caribbean today. Definitely clear. Even on the Barbados radar, not much to show. Just some leftover rainfall right there across sections of Trinidad and Tobago. If we take a look at the weather view of Doppler radar images, we can still see a lot of rainfall affecting portions of Florida, western Cuba, the Bahamas, associated with that system that the Hurricane Center is monitoring. We can also see some isolated pockets of rainfall across sections of Central America, including Mexico, Belize, sections of Guatemala, Honduras getting in on the mix. And we see that most of the rainfall is right there across sections of French Guyana heading into Suriname as well. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is showing 18°C on Wednesday. It's actually 1 p.m. on Wednesday. And we do see a mixture of the grays, yellows, oranges that represent average to above average temperatures across the majority of the basin. We still have the below average temperatures that are plaguing sections of the United States as we speak. As it relates to the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Wednesday, we still have a lot of dust stretching all the way across the main development region from Africa into the Caribbean. We see that vigorous plume starting to make its way into portions of the Windward Islands, so there is definitely some amount of hazy skies being had, not to mention some amount of respiratory illnesses being triggered in some people, and all of this, as we know, is pushing towards the west-northwest in that flow of wind. As it relates to the rainfall forecast now, both of these maps are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Wednesday. Not saying that's going to be raining from now all the way up until then, but these are the areas that are going to be picking up the most in the way of rainfall. And we see the consensus that there's definitely a lot more rainfall in store for sections of the south. So let's start with this northern portion of South America first. French Guiana, Suriname, Guyana, Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador to be getting in on some rainfall. Section of the ABC Islands could definitely get in on some isolated showers, not to mention Trinidad and Tobago. And we see that for the most part, majority of the Eastern Caribbean and the Northeastern Caribbean are going to be in the clear, while most of the rainfall should be affecting areas to the north of the area. So the Bahamas, Florida, if they're not already getting that rainfall right now, it's definitely going to be expected within the next 24 hours again. Western Cuba, sections of the Cayman Islands still to get some more rainfall. Sections of Mexico, Belize, Guatemala, El Salvador, and even section of Honduras and Nicaragua, if I didn't mention those areas as yet. I know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS are in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.